Critics have often described liberalism as a disease. A disease can weaken the body, it might even kill, but a disease might be fought, it might be defeated. But liberalism is an acid. It destroys and disfigures everything it touches, including liberalism. Can an acid be defeated? Is there a single institution that has not been disfigured by liberalism? Monarchy, parliament, democracy, family, marriage, religion, law, have any of them emerged unscathed from liberalism? Children, morals, education, trade, freedom of association, labour relations, relations between the sexes, have any of these gone unaffected by liberalism? The thing that makes liberalism the most radical of all political philosophies is its ability and its desire to destroy everything it touches, to reduce everything to liberalism, only liberalism all the time. Liberals will say they are builders, not destroyers, that they have built a better world, but how often will they admit the destruction that they are responsible for? When they do admit it, they claim that it was necessary. What was destroyed was a bond. It made people slaves, it held them back, it stopped people from achieving their true potential. To liberals, all of these are good reasons to destroy something. But liberalism is not mindless. It does not destroy things for fun, although its fellow travellers might. No, liberalism has a vision of the future. It has aimed its sights upon a better world, filled with better people, and for those who believe, no amount of setbacks, complaints, or reality is enough to end the dream, for every liberal knows that the future is late. You would think such an attitude would make liberals impatient, and sometimes they are. But overall, liberalism is amazingly patient. The dream is inevitable. It will always come true. They truly believe that a better world filled with better people is on its way. And what would this world look like? The perfect liberal world differs between liberals. After all, they are individuals. But it would look something like this. A government that looks after the needs of every single individual. There would be no such thing as family or even society. There would only exist individuals, and the only reason the government would exist is to provide what those individuals with the things they cannot provide for themselves. The world of the autonomous individual. There are some things that even liberals seem confused by. Would business exist? Would money? What about marriage? Would men and women exist? Would race, religion? Some say yes, all those things would exist, and others say no, none of these things would exist. I tend to agree with the later people. Now, think of the world that you and I live in today, and think about the world that I have described, the world of the autonomous individual. There's quite a difference between the two. Now think of all the things that liberalism must destroy to create its vision. They must destroy anything that binds people together. Nations, family, society, all must be destroyed. So how does liberalism go about destroying these things? By being an acid, by dissolving those things that bind us together. Step by step, they remove the things that stand in their way. For all of liberalism's fault, it is very logical. The next step is normally easy to identify. Let us use the family as an illustration. The first step was to say that kings and priests were illegitimate. Then they moved on to fathers. Authority was the enemy they attacked here. Then they sought to remove marriage from the authority of the church and move it from something sacred to something secular, to remove God's authority and replace him with man's authority. That included the power to grant divorce. Then they said that women needed to be free of fathers, of their family, and from their husband. First they attacked the power of kings and priests, then the church, then fathers, and then husbands. They sought step by step to remove any authority that they did not have power over. And this all happened before 1900. They had a long break during which they suffered some advances and even some defeats. Then they started again in the second half of the 20th century. They started by talking about sex, about sexual freedom, about how people within marriage should be free to do as they desired with their partner. But that was simply a smokescreen. What they wanted was for all people to reject authority, including the authority of a person's spouse. What they wanted was for people to become dissatisfied with what they had in life, to desire, to lust after more, particularly sex. They pushed pornography, they pushed sexual freedom, they pushed the idea that cheating on your partner was a personal issue, not a legal one. They pushed for adultery to be made legal. After all, it only affects two people, they argued. They pushed for no-fault divorce because it was only between people. It didn't affect anyone else, they argued. And this all happened by 1980. But they like to put their fingers into as many pies as possible. You never know which one will be the next with the idea to break through. They supported homosexuality, its decriminalisation, its relentless push to be made legitimate, to be accepted. They did the same with the transgender issue. They pushed for feminism, which is logical as is a branch of liberalism, all of which is an attack on the family. Liberals like to say that this idea is wrong, but if it's truly wrong, they would have stopped pushing these ideas, but they never have. Women should have careers. Careers are compulsory. Husbands and children are optional. They pushed the idea that marriage was also optional. Love is not a document. You don't need anyone else's authority. No, liberalism says you are your own authority. You're a rebel against all of world history, against everything that has ever been. History is wrong. Society is wrong. Everything is wrong, except the individual. At each step they use the acid of liberalism to dissolve the edges, to destroy the form that we all know. Soon it is misshaped and discoloured. It's no longer as it was. They point to it and say, look at this old tired thing. If it was worth saving, it wouldn't be so misshaped and discoloured, never revealing or admitting that they are the ones who made it this way. No, they look to the victims of their brave new world and say they wanted the world this way. We are only giving the people what they want, a want that mysteriously they know, but that the people don't. Liberalism is an acid, and it destroys everything that it touches.